Chapter 14. Moreover, more on, more rows. Ruby had opened the dictionary on the counter, propped her elbows on either side of it, and read randomly on the page. She sat on a stool she dragged into the greenhouse. Her lantern glowed next to her head. She'd had leftover cornbread crumbled in buttermilk for supper, as her mother had spent so much time at the Lanthams. She had come home late, and Ruby had said she wasn't hungry anyway. You and Melba need to talk, her mother had said, but Ruby had refused to go with her to the Lathams. Someone tapped on the greenhouse door. "It's me." "Dove?" Ruby slid off the stool and opened the door. "Come in quick. Beamy is out there roosting with Best. She wants like anything to get in here with Ivy and these chicks." "Are they here yet?" Dove had a sleeping bag in her arms and a backpack looped over her shoulders. She wore the same clothes she had worn ever since Ruby met her. "Not yet. Boy, am I glad to see you." "Me too." Ruby rolled out her sleeping bag next to Ruby's quilt. They had just enough room. "I thought you weren't coming. What happened today, it really was an accident." "I know it was. I was just so shocked. Everybody was. Miss Mattie was so mad at you, and she thought you did it on purpose, and I didn't know because how would I know? I already saw how you and Melba don't get along, and—" Ruby tried to interrupt. "How can you talk like that without taking a breath? And I met your mama at the Lathams. I like her. She told Aunt Tot and everybody else that you were trying to keep Beamy away from Ivy, just like you said, and then she and Melba's mama talked in the corner for a while. I didn't get that on tape. And then Melba's mama patted your mama on the arm and went back to Melba, and Miss Mattie said, 'Evelyn, you got to do something with that child.' And your mama said, 'I've got that part on tape. Do you want to hear it?'" No, Ruby wanted to hear it more than anything. "Well, never mind then. I brought my equipment with me tonight. I've got fresh tape. Let me label it." Dove unzipped her backpack and pulled out her tape recorder and camera. She opened her notebook to a clean page, looked at her pocket watch, and wrote, "June 6th, inside the chicken house at the Pink Palace, just outside the town of Hallelujah, Mississippi, 10:07 p.m., waiting for Ruby Lavender's chicks to hatch. This will be recorded on tape 7, and here are my impressions of this event, which I will record here faithfully. Signed, Helen Dove, Junior Anthropologist in Training." She picked up some clay pots and moved them to the shelf above her. Then she pushed buttons and made sure her tape was ready. After a few quick minutes, she frowned and looked at Ruby. "Did you hear that Melba had to have her hair cut off?" Ruby pulled her knees up to her chin but said nothing. "She looks just awful." Ruby crossed her arms on top of her knees and still was silent. "Pitiful," said Dove. Ruby shot Dove her shut-up look, but Dove didn't get it. "Do you want to hear my interview with her? I did it after she got her hair cut off. She just looked in the mirror. It's loud, and you can hear every single word." "I don't want to hear it," snapped Ruby. She pulled up her overall straps. "Mama already told me about Melba's hair, Dove." Dove just looked at Ruby. Ruby fidgeted. "Okay," she admitted. "It looked awful when she was standing there with the paint dripping all over her. She pushed her hair out of her face, but it wasn't my fault." She rested her forehead on her crossed arms and sighed through her knees. "I don't like Melba, and I hate it that you do." A fly buzzed somewhere around Ruby's head. Outside, Beamy and Bess began squawking. "They should be sleeping," said Ruby. "Why don't you like her?" "She hates me." "Why does she hate you?" Ruby used the palm of her hand to wipe the sweat from her upper lip. "No good reason." "There must be some reason." "She's a bully." "She's been nice to me." "Good for you. You're new here. She wants to know all about you right now, just like everybody else." Dove stretched out her sleeping bag and began scribbling. Beamy and Bess kept squawking, and Ruby stood up. "I need to check on the chickens. Maybe there's a skunk out there." Dove ignored her. "Peas, why is Melba so mad at you about the accident last summer? What happened last summer?"